Hola, all. This video is a quick response to hacking the headlines girl. Just she can't keep that foot out of her mouth, and here we go again. The hat, I'd like to say, is paying homage to my most gracious host for tomorrow night's interview, Shannon Q, who will be replacing Godless Cranium for whatever reason. I believe he had pre-scheduled some other event that he needs to attend, which really sucks because I really wanted to talk to him specifically for specific reasons. He and I have a great deal in common, and we're both sort of directors of our own sorts of initiatives here, and I believe we could accomplish a lot uh, working in cohesion, even though it would appear as though our beliefs differ. They, in fact, do not. And we're both snazzy dressers, even though he's a cartoon and a Canadian. But the hat is an homage to her paying homage to Twitter trollers, which I have to say should very much indeed, madam, be considered a psychological illness. I mean, when you can't keep from jumping on anybody that, any chance you get to troll somebody and like no matter what they say, I've seen these people who no matter what you say, you could say 2 + 2 = 4 and they'll find a way to debate it just for the sake of argument. So that's not. I'd say that's a psychological disorder, but hey, I never got my degree in psychology. I did attend the classes, though. I was not supposed to be there, but I did, in fact, attend college courses, although I was not an official student. Anyways, let's begin with this video is called from Buddhism to Born Again, I believe, or from Buddhist to Born Again, maybe, but one or the other. From Buddhism to Born Again, and it's by Hacking the Headlines Girl again. Now she speaks of her transition. I'd like to say before I begin, madam, that I apologize for this sincerely. I mean, I understand that this is like your personal story of your traversal, and here I am jumping on it and insisting myself into your personal testimony. I understand that that's a bit intrusive, but I mean, you're in my territory again. You're gonna have to pay the toll. I cannot. I'm on the job now. I can't allow for you to run around, essentially scamming people the way that you do. And I understand that you don't know that you're doing that, but it is in fact what you're doing. And I'm going to try and highlight that to some degree here. Anyway, she speaks of having practiced such things as Tibetan Buddhist meditation and whatnot, and she speaks of having opened the third eye at one point. She says that she was aware, she knew that there was an actual third eye in the brain. The pineal gland is an actual third eye. It's these things that the Buddhists and Taoists, Hinduists, the elder cultures, our tradition cultures speak of. Chakras are nerve clusters in the body. They're physical nerve clusters. The third eye is an actual gland. These are glands and nerve clusters. These are real physical material. All of this is physics. It's all physics. It's all scientifically proven. It's all scientifically viable. None of this is woo woo, I guess is a term that the kids use nowadays. I don't know really what that's supposed to mean. It's pretty much woo is a word that they use to wash over anything that they don't understand or don't care to look into, but it's not woo for your information. It's hard science. It's the real deal Holyfield, and I can personally attest to the utilization of these chakras, these engines in the body is opening up energy that most people are unaware they even have access to, let alone make use of. And you can do amazing things with it. I'm very excited to see what will happen with our interview tomorrow night. When right now, as I make this video, the time that it takes for you to watch this is actually a great deal longer than the time that it takes for me to make it. Now we're going to see if we can do that with other people. We're going to see if I can actually compress time with, I believe I'm going to have 2 or 3 other people in this interview. at once. I'm not sure if I'm going to be visible though. That's a consideration I should have thought of. Anyways, she speaks to doing these meditations before she was aware that Christ was the answer, and she says that she practiced a meditation, and she was aware of the pineal gland, that there was in fact a third eye in the brain, and that she could feel a buzzing in her brain as she practiced this meditation. And word up, good deal, rock on. And she felt it buzzing and she felt it open up, and she said they were doing a chanting sound, which is likely the Om sound of the universe, Om. And she said they said this was the sound of the universe, but she says I won't make it here, like there's something wrong with it, like it's an evil thing to do. I won't do it here, but they were making the sound of the universe. There's something wrong with that. Such an ass. Sorry, I apologize. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you right here. I am not going to be unbiased about this. You're an asshole, and I'm just I can't allow this to go on anymore. And do whatever I can to put an end to this bullshit. She says that she felt the third eye open, and afterwards she had what she calls supernatural visions and experiences, which again, these are not supernatural. This is natural. This is how your body is supposed to operate. These mechanisms, such as opening the third eye, being able to see synchronicities, being able to see values, being able to see what you might think of as being supernatural instances, halos around the body, or what they call auras and such, electromagnetic fields. This is all natural. This is what you're supposed to see. It's what you're supposed to be. But it's been shut down. It's been locked off by the fucking pollution that's spread about in common modern society. This is purposeful. This is deliberate. The people that had a hand in building our culture knew about this. They know about this, and they wanted to pretty much disempower you, because there was no real way for them to make themselves more powerful than you. We all share the same consciousness. We all share the same ability. We all share the same power. And these people that wanted to control us, that had a hand in building our culture, there was no way for them to make themselves, establish themselves as having transcended us in any way that they knew of at the time. Although we do believe there may be ways to accomplish that now. In most cases, when people speak of transcendence, it's pretty much kind of resetting back to default, which it, the things that people think are supernatural are actually our default setting. It's where we're supposed to be at. But as I was saying, these people who had a hand in building culture as it stands, they went out of their way to make sure that they shut this down. An example is such as putting fluoride in the water. Fluoride specifically targets the pineal gland. It calcifies the pineal gland and shuts down your ability. Mind you, this is the eye that you use to see when you're dreaming. This is the eye that you use to see when you imagine. Them putting that fluoride in the water, not only is it a toxic poison for your body, but it's literally designed to shut down your ability to be creative, to have imagination, to dream. And that's just one of the measures by which these people went out of their way to ensure that the populace, for the most part, the sheep amongst us, were shut down and limited. They disempowered us so that they could remain at default setting and thereby be more powerful than us, in the sense that they were in good standing and we were pretty much shackled. So sorry that I'm smoking. I'll quit. I promise. I'm going to. But I have measures. I've taken measures. I'm prepped to quit. But anyway, she says she had supernatural visions, and she said it sounds crazy for her to say that now, and it sounds like she was crazy then, and it sounds crazy for her to talk about this now, and she doesn't like to talk about it because it sounds crazy. Madam, that's the reason why we are shut down, because people like you have been trained to think that it's crazy to be at optimal performance. You've been trained to consider it crazy and outlandish and woo to be at your default setting and to be empowered as a human entity, to have your body operating at peak functionality. You've been trained to believe that that's crazy, and trained to shut yourself down because of it. Every time that something like this arises, and you happen to be one of those people, mind you, that is actually afraid of this. And that's why you took the path that you took. She says it over and over again throughout her it's a live feed, I think. She says it repeatedly, again and again and again. She says, now things are so much easier now. It's so much easier this way. Yeah, it's easier. It's easier for you to use Christianity and to use religion as a crutch instead of accepting your own responsibility, facing your own demons, being your own person. It's easier for you to pass the buck off to Jesus, which, mind you, is not really there at all. There is no Jesus. It's his imaginary friend. Now, she says that she saw visions of a car crash happening. She even told her boyfriend about it. And then the car crash actually happened several months later. She was afraid she was going to die in this car crash. She said that the car crash happened and she almost died in it. That right there is proof in your ability to foresee the future. And of course, as spotters, we always have to be asking the question, did we see the future before it happened, or did we make it happen? That's always going to be an existential question we have to ask, because we know that we are operative in the direction of making reality happen. So it's very possible that her vision could have caused that crash. But regardless, one way or the other, it's proof right there that she has that ability. She talks about having used tarot cards and how the readings were always very accurate, which, mind you, tarot cards are very accurate. Tarot cards are one of my favorite divination tools. They're pretty bitchin'. If you know how to use them properly, which if you buy a deck, firstly, if you buy a deck, it's not likely to work for you. It's kind of a tradition that it has to be handed off. It has to be given to you as a gift. It's a matter of superstition, really. And yes, it is a superstition, but that's a part of the laws that are in place. Those superstitions are that's a whole different matter. But let's just say it's a superstition. You want to have a deck given to you, and the book that you're going to get with the deck is bullshit. It's not going to tell you how to use it at all. It's just commercial crap. You have to learn how to use those cards on your own, or have somebody teach you that's skilled in it. And yes, they are very accurate. She speaks about how accurate it was, but she says that using stuff like that, she felt like it was attracting more supernatural stuff into her life, which, yes, because that's called the laws of attraction. That's how it works. That what like attracts like. You bring things into your life based on what you put in. You get what you give in this life that you live. And you're going to attract things of this nature if you're involved with things of this nature. But she felt you felt as though it was like demonic or satanic, because some fucking dipshit told you that it was satanic, that it was evil, and you bought it. And so now you think that there's something evil about practicing these utilizing these practices. And so when they're attracted into your life, you get afraid of it. And so she says she found Jesus. She said that before she had engaged Christianity, she thought that Christians were uneducated idiots, and just uneducated, apathetic idiots. And guess what, madam? They are. She says that society is conditioned to disregard Christianity, and we should take a second look at the Bible. I'm going to challenge you here, madam. I'm going to challenge you to actually take a second look at the Bible now. I'm doing a course called Secular Theology on this channel. I challenge you to follow along with that course and see if your mind doesn't change on a few matters. Because we're going to examine the Bible for what it really is. And we're going to show you what you're really reading and what you're really preaching, what you're really teaching people, which is very, very disempowering, demeaning, fucking just bad news. The good news, they say, is the Bible. No, it's bad news, and it's really is an illness. It's a disease that you are spreading by preaching this to people. And you're gonna go from Buddhism to born again. And even I remind you, she said in the other video that she thinks that Tibetan Buddhism is a knockoff of the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit, the very idea of it, is stolen from Buddhism, from Taoism particularly. Taoism specifically is where the idea of the Holy Spirit is stolen from. The very idea of Jesus is stolen from Buddhism, from the Buddha, and from other like figures, Mithra, Mercury, all the different figures throughout history that we have far before Jesus that made up this amalgamation of a figure that appeared as Jesus. And even if Jesus really existed, which personally I think that there actually was a Jesus figure, I think that he was created. I think that it was a political scam, that these prophecies were fulfilled by forces in play, people in power who had the money and the resources to make these prophecies happen and to make this Jesus character happen for the sake of creating this cult. I fully believe that that is what happened, because I mean, it's highly unlikely that it would have worked otherwise. I mean, that Christianity in and of itself and the Bible is so evidently, obviously a scam and ridiculous nonsense, not to mention just sadistic and savage in its nature. There's no way that it would have been accepted by any measure had there not actually been a Jesus figure in play at some point. So that's just logic speaking. But she says that she used to be tempted by Satan, and she used to drink and use drugs, but now she has protection. She finally came to Christ, and she decided to use Jesus. And this is what you're doing, madam. This is precisely what you're doing. You asked God, the real God, for help, and what God gave you was this imaginary friend, Jesus figure, to use as a shield to protect yourself from yourself, because you were afraid of what you were discovering. You were afraid of accepting the responsibility for your own innate ability and structure and construct. You were afraid to delve into your own psyche, and you speak of all these MK Ultra mind control shit. That's what she talks about on her channel a lot, is MK Ultra mind control, the sort of thing that we put out there, like the Monarch mind control programming, the social programming experimentation. She speaks about that, but and look, on one hand, just talking about that's what you would consider to be satanic or Luciferian um, practices. Just talking about that, just spreading word about that. So you're doing that right there. And B, Christianity is a part of it. Christianity and this bullshit Satanism crap, they're hand in hand. They're both part of this social programming experimentation. Each one was created by the other, and each one sustains the other. Christianity is a part of it, and you're not. She speaks to. I'm gonna play the little clip I have, and we'll respond to that, because she says something very important here that I want you guys to see. So let's take a look at this.
Research on Jesus. Everything I was researching, it just kept coming back to Christ. It kept coming back to the Bible. I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to that. We're researching this stuff, and all signs point to Christ. And now, looking back, I can't understand how I didn't see it sooner, and I can't understand how people don't see it. Who aren't believers now, if they look into this type of stuff. So yeah, the Bible just kept coming up. So I thought, okay, I'm going to read it. And it was shortly after that I was convinced, after everything I'd looked into, with all the proof we have of his resurrection and how the scriptures have not changed, and how other people's testimonies I would listen to, like them turning into new creatures in Christ, their life completely changing. And throughout I think this is an important point as well, all throughout my psychology career, because I was in psychology for a while, I never really saw people get help. I saw them get medicated. I saw them make small breakthroughs here and there, only to return to their past behavior. I mean, they might get a little better, but there was always still a very real and serious problem with them, whatever was existing before. It might have gotten masked or gotten a little bit better, but it was never fixed, you know, and it almost seemed like they were trying to keep people sick in psychology. But when I listened to people's testimonies in Christ, I was amazed at how much their lives could turn around. Like, you know, a heroin addict, a former heroin addict, finding Christ and quitting heroin, or someone who was, you know, narcissistic and selfish. They're suddenly, you know, giving and thinking of other people. Like, just people making complete turnarounds in their life, something that I never once saw in psychology. So I thought, why not try it? Why not try Christ and see what happens? Like, what do I have to lose? And that's when I accepted him into my life, and that's when everything changed for me, guys. Like, it is truly amazing how much easier my life is now that I am a born again believer.
Okay, so I'll tell you what you had to lose there. Yourself. You gave yourself to Christianity, madam. You gave your responsibility, your duty to be who you really are and to create yourself. You handed that over to Christianity because it made your life easier. And you said you can't understand how other people could not see this before. From my perspective, when I look out at the world, I cannot understand how people are so fucking blind. It's like on either side of this imaginary line that's drawn, this great rift, this divide in our society. Whether you're religious or you're purely scientific, neither one works without the other. They are the same thing. You guys you're not seeing it yet. You're not seeing the connections for whatever reason. But personally, I cannot understand how. I cannot understand how you people cannot see. This is simply that there is no argument here that you guys are talking about the same fucking thing. And when she talks about psychology didn't really help anybody, it seemed like it seemed like it wanted to keep people sick. It just made minor fixes and just wanted to keep people sick so that it could keep them a customer. Yes, that's what's happening. That is what's happening with psychology. That's what's happening with the medical community in general. Doctors are not trained to heal you. They are trained to ensure that you remain a customer. It's all for the pharmaceutical industry, mind you. We're still working Project Philanthropy. Promote that if you're watching this. Promote Project Philanthropy and get with our vendors for natural resources. I'm gonna try and put this out there tomorrow night in that interview, and maybe get a boost there. Because if anybody needs help with any addictions or anything of that sort, forget about this bullshit. I'm gonna hand my problems to Christ or go to AA and fucking accept a higher power. We can give you natural solutions, remedies that will work for you immediately. We can hook you up with something that will actually a healthy, natural alternative to narcotics that will get you off of drugs, fix you up, and get you going pretty well, just right off the bat. So fuck a bunch of this psychosomatic placebo shit. I know that's what we work with time mechanics, and we'll get into that later. But it's very effective. It can be, but when you're forfeiting your own choices and your own responsibility, when you're forfeiting your identity for a religion because you need that crutch, you need that shield to protect you from the parts of yourself that you're afraid of, that's a no-no. Don't do that. That's a direction from and I am the director again. Now I've retaken my role because Randy. I don't want to bad talk. Randy's one of the best people I've ever known. He's one of the most ass kickingest motherfuckers I've ever known. I love that dude. I will love my entire heart goes out to that guy. I don't know where he is or what's going on with him. Randy, if you see this, I hope you're well. But you did fail us here on this, and I'm sure you had good reasons for it. But I had to retake the role, and I'm happy to do it. It chews up a lot of my time. I can't really see how I'm going to make it work quite yet, but I always do. So, anyways, She speaks about how psychology is just ensuring you remain a customer and not actually fixing your problems. Yes, religion is doing the same thing, madam. Religion is doing exactly the same thing. It's making minor little calculations to kind of make you feel as though you've gotten some kind of a protection from the things that you fear in the world, which, mind you, are a part of you, are parts of yourself that you're afraid to engage and accept, and you're locking yourself off from it. And religion, in and of itself, is locking you off from yourself, locking you off from what God really is, the life in the world, the reality of existence, and the challenges and responsibilities that you're given by the world. That's a part of what God is, and you forfeit that by accepting this born again Christ. I'm gonna, I just everything, hand off all my problems to Jesus, and none of it's my responsibility anymore. Jesus protects me from everything. That's a cop out. That's a pretty whack cop out, and it's weak. It's it's disorderly. Now, religion's doing precisely the same thing as psychology, precisely the same thing as the medical community in general, but religion is fixating you. Religion is actually taking your soul from you for the most part, if you want to use the term soul. When I speak to soul, I speak to soul mechanics. Of course, I'm speaking to one soul. There is only one soul. There's only one of us here. It's just broken into pieces. It's fractured into all these pieces that become what we are. And we collect these pieces and we exchange them and we use them to make our identities. And when you encounter pieces of yourself, madam, if you believe in God, if you believe that a God created everything and that we are all one with this God, that we are a part of this God, then you have to accept that everything is a part of it. Everything is a part of you. So when you encounter things that you want to call demonic, it's not demonic. It's just a part of you that you're afraid of. And you're using this false idol, this graven image, as a shield to protect yourself from yourself. That's exactly what it means when it says that God sacrificed himself for himself. It's you sacrificing yourself to protect yourself from yourself. She speaks about the elder cultures and traditions and how there was no mention of sin, and that's what unnerved her. Because there's nothing evil. There is no evil, dumbass. Sorry. I mean, I do mean to be a shithead. Fuck you. There is no evil. Suggesting that something is evil, aside from maybe psychopathy and murderers, serial killers, and even that's not really evil technically. It's just broken. And we need to fix these problems. We can't use religion as a crutch to just mask our symptoms. We have to actually get at the root of these. We have to accept the pieces of ourselves that we are afraid of, accept them, engage them, take up that challenge and that opportunity as a responsibility for ourselves to fix, to heal ourselves. And we need to help do that for each other. And that's my beat. That's what I have to say about this lovely. She's a beautiful young lady with a beautiful voice, and she has a mind. She has a good mind. She has a good intellect, and she's got some good ideas. Her channel has some good leads, but fuck me, you're preaching fucking bullshit. You might as well be teaching people to just throw their lives away. Like you're telling people there's mind control, there's social programming, mind control in society, and then you're preaching mind control. Christianity is a part of that. Christianity is the most powerful tool that this mind control project has ever used. And it's got you. It's got you wrapped up tight. So that's it. You're free to go. Do as you please. As I said, I challenge you to follow up. The secular theology course is being suspended for the moment, but I'm going to start doing it pretty soon. I'm going to follow up on it. There are pieces available in the secular theology playlist section you can look at that will give you an idea of what we're doing here, and you really have to watch those to be prepared for the rest of the course. So I hope you do that. If you're gonna tell me, you're gonna challenge me take a second look at the Bible. I'm going to challenge you. Take a second look at the Bible with us. Follow along with the secular theology course and see if it doesn't change a few values in your system. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Tune in tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. for a Heathen Hour here on YouTube with myself, Shannon Q, dude named Pelagia. I've never seen him before. I've heard of him, but I've never seen him, and I think somebody else might be attending on behalf of Godless Cranium. Thank you so much for your time, everybody. I love you guys, all of you, even whatever you're called. Hacking the headlines, girl. Sorry, forgot for a second there. Hacking the headlines, girl. I love you too, and I wish you the best. I really hope that you can get this cleared up because that you're still suffering from it. You're still suffering from the illness. It's this cognitive dissonance. It has everyone. You got to get out of that trap, and we can help you do that. You have to just tune in. So, love you all. Kila Salai. Terve Uni Siari Namaste. Namaste.